Do you know deep down there's so much more to you and to this physical existence than you could even imagine? But perhaps you get stuck in overwhelm and the truly devastating crises of these times, making it so hard to live and contribute to the world as fully as you want to? What if I said this event could offer you powerful teachings and aha moments that could truly shift your beliefs and the course of your life so that you could align more fully with your true radiant self? I can say this has been true for me, and I give thanks to all the opportunities I've had over many years immersed in these powerful wisdoms that have truly transformed me and allowed me to become who I am today. And I want to share this opportunity with you. My name is Erica Mers, and this event is born out of my passion to support spiritually minded change makers, healers, artists, and leaders like yourself to remember the energetic power we all possess so that you can show up, we can all show up more powerfully for much needed change in the world. So in this free event, you can learn from over 20 awe-inspiring, super experienced, and diverse guest speakers. We're all bringing together these spiritual wisdoms, the embodied healing practices, the power of art, and some radical visioning and strategizing for collective liberation. Throughout this convergence, we'll be inviting you to go inward, to breathe and sense deeply, to stretch your mind, get radically real, and you'll even get a chance to cathartically dance your healing prayers. So be sure to sign up, check it out. All the information is there. And invite people who could benefit from this, because we truly need access to these wisdoms in these times. I truly don't know how else we can make it through and survive as a humanity, as spiritual beings in this plane. And it's so important that we can get access to these knowledge that have been so oppressed by so many years and generations of colonization and white supremacy culture. So please check out this opportunity. I really hope you will take it to heart and join in and share with your friends as well. Many, many, many blessings to you. Mwah.
A prayer is an action. It's not just sitting with your pinkies on your thumbs and praying about something, but it's putting your body out there. It's about putting your spirit there when somebody is wanting to harm your very mother that birthed you, and they are harming her, and they have harmed her here. They have harmed her very, very much. The sacred life giver, they have harmed her here in a very, very intense way, and most people don't know how intense that is. And I believe it's only our indigenous people that truly hold the memory of the unbelievable beauty that was here, the depth of the representations of Creator living on our sacred Mother Earth. Those things are things that our people hold in our DNA memory. They're held in our stories from our elders through our ancestors. And we see now the world through our ancestors' eyes. We see and wish for and pray for.
Shamanism, as I told you, it's about also being able to have a skill to travel between the dimensions, and being able to easily shift from one to another, not being lost in one dimension. So we see the whole world as the whole universe as the three worlds: lower, middle, and the higher. The higher world is about the gratitude, and we call that machtal. Middle world is the physical world, and it's about the love, taptal, and lower world is about fear, kuttal. And if in shamanism, if you close your eyes, you are in your inner world. And in inner world has the same three worlds, the same three spots. And you can find it in your physical body.
I had been organizing events for a few years in the early aughts. The notion of organizing a festival came several years in, and really the idea for me of a festival came out of a critique of the festivals that were around at that time, and what I saw as an inauthenticity around a commitment to an ecological ethic. And so my interest in a festival really began with an interest in the possibility of a regenerative festival, a recognition that any event is the creation of an ephemeral village, and that any time we have any time we gather in the ways that we gather, we're imagining the possibility of lasting village.
So first of all, one has to be sensitive enough to know that there is an energy that's moving. It's got to be a felt sense. Many of us are so in our head that we don't even know we have a body, and we don't even know that the body has its own consciousness and is sending signals to you. There is the sense that the body is just a machine and it has to do what we tell it to do. And what this dance reminds you is about the incredible entity and being that the body itself is, and that it's a privilege that it's your partner, and it gives you these experiences.
We have all these ritual processes that we do on the dance floor that I do, but for me, the most essential thing is that I love myself and I allow myself to feel my feelings, and then I'm so much less judgmental about everybody else in the world, right? The most judgmental people, just remember this, are judging themselves so harshly, and that's why they judge everybody else, right? So it's a real, everything internally is just externally being shown to us. Mm-hmm. So all your stuff comes up on the dance floor. When you're in the process, you're like, oh wow, I'm judging myself right now. For feeling anger, for feeling shame, or for feeling grief, or for feeling guilt or blame, or whatever it is. And then we come into peace with that somehow through the transformation stage by really, it's heavily active. And then we go into celebration because we made it through that tunnel. I call it the tunnel of transformation. So we made it through the tunnel. Now we're in celebration. We're in empowerment. We're getting our joy back because we are innately joyous, right?
When I'm on the dance floor, if I'm using that intention, I'm deep in the dance. I spiral down into, my body, into ancestral, toxic stuff in there, into, whatever it is from my past lives, or, my limiting beliefs, or whatever it is. All these elements of my own healing. I go deep, deep in there, and I'm calling it up. I call it up. And literally my body, this has happened many times without the use of substances. I have literally dry heaved on the dance floor where you get hot and sweaty and your whole body starts convulsing and literally vomiting energy on the dance floor through using this combination of practices of the visualization, the dance, the music, the intention, that focus, and the prayer. The energy works. So I share that to say that so much is possible with these practices of dance. I am very clear that peoples all over the world, indigenous cultures all over the world, have known of these powerful practice dance and song and embodiment and group prayer and group meditation and dream work. Like, all these things are not new, and we need a lot of help to remember them.
We have so much healing power within us that I think most humans aren't tapping into, but I've had some pretty amazing things happen by tapping in, and I think we all have that ability. So that spiral might go in through my body down into the earth for healing of the earth. Sometimes flashes of visions will come in. So inviting that possibility for healing, and to be, people that are on the other side of the veil, they're available, they're there. I feel them, they show me pictures. That's my way of communicating with them. I'll feel some energy. Yeah. And then when I've reached that place, I feel like, I can open my eyes and I'm seeing these humans that are incredible and witnessing their process and their movement. We're releasing, I don't know what, we don't talk on the dance floor, so I don't know what this person does, or what, we know nothing really about each other when we're on the dance floor, but we just know our heart and our spirit. We're connecting in a beautiful, beautiful way. And sometimes I'll just like send energy to the room, and all just surrounding this entire dance floor. I'll send just healing. It's just moving through me. It's not me sending it, it's moving through me and creating a safe container so that we can all experience who we are, who is our authentic self.
I think you call it, you are a powerful divine being, where that essence or divinity or well-beingness got interfered with beyond my ability, my resources at the moment. And so what we want, or what the work is, or it's not really the work, but it's the process of realizing and coming forth to change some of those early patterns. And one of the wonderful things is that these days we have this information about plasticity, that so these early patterns that are formed, that it feels like it'll never change. I mean, in trauma, it feels like nothing will ever change. But yet when we have a different experience, especially in our physicality, oh, I feel a little bit lighter after doing, like even the breathing, I feel a little bit lighter then. And so in that moment, something in the neuroplasticity gets to shift a little bit. Oh, I have this experience of a little bit of that, we'll call it lightness or expansion.
The one of the elements is our childhood experience. So for me, it was that I didn't feel like anybody knew me or cared about me, because if they don't care about me enough to know me, then I'm out in the cold. And so especially for a child, but for adults too, we need to be included in community. We need to know that we're going to be protected, and not just food and shelter, which I was fortunate to have. But we also need to have the guidance. But often our parents are addicted or depressed or really stressed, and they're not able to give us what we need. They're not able to parent us in a way that's optimal for our nervous system. So that's something that we can do now. We can reparent ourselves, or, with parenting, we need co-regulation with someone with a really well-regulated nervous system. So a child doesn't have the brain capacity to figure that out on their own. They co-regulate with the adults around them. So it might be a teacher or an auntie or uncle, or it might be a grandparent or something. But we need to have that sense of connection, like someone's going to notice and care if I'm not here or if I'm not happy. If we haven't had that experience, we have to figure out a way to develop that ourselves. So the inquiry, the somatic inquiry that we do, is based on loving ourselves, really.
We're here to be whole. We're here to express ourselves. And so shadow, like the repressed and exiled aspects of us, will make themselves known in our lives. And they do. And they do this through our dysfunctional relationships. They do this through our addictions, through depression, through anxiety, through our lack of motivation in life, or our inability to identify who we are and what we want.
Because movement is an incredibly powerful way to move stuck energy through your system, and particularly trauma. It's a great way to move it through your system that's gentle without having to relive the trauma. So what we've just done then is we've turned our energy system back on. Now you can duck to the bathroom and do this, or if you're not concerned, you can just sit at your desk and do it, or you can go out for lunch and do it. But you'll find that when we are triggered, the nervous system switches off and our animal brain comes forward and we can't think. This will switch our brain back on. It energizes us and gets the energy flowing. So you'll realize that you really quickly drop back into, oh, okay, I'm ready. And you go back into the day.
So this part is constantly preparing us for disaster. And when you're in that phase, which usually you'll know because you're feeling anxiety or fear or frustration or anger or jealousy or envy or all those kinds of things, which are not getting you anywhere. But when you're in that phase, it's a stress phase. It shuts off the higher part of your mind, the part of your mind that can analyze and strategize, the part of your mind that can plan, can make a plan and stick to that plan, the part of you that can open to your internal wisdom, the part of you that can open to your spiritual guidance is not available to you. And so the most important thing, if you had to learn one thing, it would be how to be in the present moment. Because every anxiety, every fear, every resentment, it's not here and now. It has to do with some vague point in the future or the past. That's what you're worried about. It's not here and now.
But I'm looking and I'm listening and I'm paying attention and I'm integrating what I learn as I go, and I'm doing my best to mitigate the harm that I'm doing. I'm inviting repair when possible. I'm learning what other people's experiences are outside of my own. And I'm continuing to check in that dance between what's real inside of me, what's real around me. What does my body need? What do the bodies of these other people in this space, human and more than human, need? And how do I be in healthy relationship intrapersonally inside of myself and with the other people that I'm engaging in relationship with? And in my art, both the painting and the poetry, the essence is that inquiry of where do liberation, embodiment, and creativity meet, and how do we inspire others to be as authentic and freely expressed as possible. Because so often the distraction, what we'll call a creative block of one kind or another, is based in fear. And it will look like, oh, I'm just going to watch this YouTube video, or I'm just going to wash my cat right now, or whatever. I'm just going to do this other task, or, oh, I'll get to that tomorrow. But it's actually, I'm afraid of the transformation I'm going to need to go through to actually create the art that wants to come through me.
I just started playing drums and I just kind of took it in my own intuitive direction. And that's kind of still the way I think of things. I don't have any kind of theory or school of thought about drumming. And in the Celtic and heathen traditions, there's no surviving specific tradition or specific ways of doing things. You sort of have to reinvent and feel it out intuitively. But ever since then, I've had various intersections with trance states, drumming, working with dancers who sometimes go into trance states, and everything in between. I can tell you a couple things of, like, first of all, in my personal rituals, I'm a solitary heathen. I don't practice with a group. I just do my own rituals and observances here at home, and I always use the drum. That's kind of like my primary means of communication, communication, you could say. And I play frame drum, and it's usually just kind of very soft, like subtle, gradual playing slow rhythms. And I find that that's really when I sort of get into the right state. Like, I don't make a lot of use of like spoken prayers or words in ritual. Is just more like myself and the music, and you make some kind of offering, but then it's mostly drumming.
The journey started as an inner one, where it's so crazy. Like, there's so many different paintings that I remember at like each stage, what I was going through personally, and how I was almost painting the woman I want to be, like painting the person that I want to represent, and the type of energy and the confidence and the beauty and the strength that I wanted to see. And so my paintings inspire me, you know what I mean? And it's always just so beautiful when people feel the same way as well. And I'm just like, because as a creative, it's definitely an intimate journey. It's an intimate body of work that I create. And so when I share it with the world, to hear people's response of like, oh, this has inspired me, or like, wow, she's so bold and beautiful. It's inspired me to show up in that way as well. I'm just like, it just feels like a win-win. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is just like a beautiful reciprocal relationship, where it's like, this is healing and empowering for me, and somebody can look at it and feel the same way. And I'm just like, oh, wow.
You're playing the rhythm in order to arrive at an altered state of consciousness, in order to see through your veil, in order to see through your psychic mind and arrive at the heart of spirit and the mind of spirit and the knowing of spirit. When we do that transforming entrancement work, that mind bending, that mind altering and blending work in the scythe or sather or scyther or saved high seat oracular ceremony, when we bring in the staff and a song and the rhythm of rocking back and forth with the staff and powering up the staff as though it is the axis mundi collecting current through Yggdrasil from the heavens, from above and below, the source energy, Gaia, terra firma, beneath us, beneath aquifer, drawing up from the earth layers untouched by human hands, drawing down from source energy in the cosmos. We are powering up through this stuff as though it's axis mundi, as though it really is Yggdrasil, right?
There is a Mayan prophecy that states when the world is in ecological upheaval, that cacao would return to help save the people and the planet. And so that leads me to believe that, this isn't the first time that cacao has been on Earth. If you're familiar with the term soma, it's believed that in ancient times, there was an elixir called soma, and it was the elixir of life. And one day, and people would drink it daily to connect with the gods and spirit and cosmos. One day it ran out, and we're like, what do we do? And so this is how breath work actually came into being, because people somehow discovered that they could reach these altered states with breath work. But I have a belief that there's a strong possibility that the soma was cacao.
We've forgotten what it feels like to be deeply spiritually fulfilled. We make fun of the things in our world that are designed to fulfill us. We ignore those things, or we try to substitute titillation and entertainment for this deep experience of one's own roots. Sorry, I wanted to go back to one of the other things that you said, that we have many problems in the world. We don't. We got one problem, and that one problem may have 50 or 100 or even 1,000 different presenting symptoms. But until we fix the one problem, you can work with the presenting symptoms. You can put the Band-Aid on the cancer, but it doesn't affect the cancer. That one problem that we have is the problem of consciousness.
With science, which is one outcome of that way of thinking, we've achieved enormous, incredible things. There's no question about it. However, one of the casualties of that is the loss of connection with ourselves, with each other, and nature. And I think that is both the problem that we suffer now, where over centuries we went from a place where we felt very tied into everything. We were a part of something. Where now young people are having suicidal ideation in an increasing number because they feel like nothing matters. It's a useless universe. Now, why do anything, right? And there's a disconnection from everything. And family and all that. We can go, people have, this is I would say a civilization issue where we don't connect.
In this modern age of people just living in isolation, like the biggest problem I've found in people's lives is that they're lonely. I mean, I can't say this across the board, but it's hard. What is depression and anxiety? It's like, we don't have anybody who's got our back. We are not doing things with other people, where like, wasn't that long ago where like, if you were going to get food, you would get together with like 9 of your relatives and go figure out how to go get food. And if you were going to, at the end of the day, we'd all be sitting around a fire playing music and singing and dancing. And so like, I found that like across the world, it was something that people were lacking, was this connection, was this like tribal feeling of someone that's I can rely on, and that we are going to get through this together, and when you have that, it just makes life a whole lot easier, and I noticed that when we do gatherings, when we do these events, music gatherings and stuff, it's like people just get it like right away, it's like they feel it. This is just right. They're excited to see their friends, they're excited to see their chosen tribe, their chosen family.
The word practice is as significant as ambassadorship or as gratitude to me, because it's become so heavy on me that if I am not practicing any of these things, whether it's gratitude or kindness or gifting, then I slip into the beliefs or pressures of default world stuff. And I start to get scared about things, and I start to become more concerned about my own security and I start to feel separate and not connected. And so I have to be practicing. And so, gratitude, daily gratitude practices, and the morning love broadcast, these like, I need them. Some people go, you do that every day. I'm like, it's not a burden. It's like, if you need to do yoga every morning, because otherwise you're going to hurt, I need to do this every day. Otherwise my spirit hurts and I get caught up in that stuff.
One of the most basic movements, it's called amplifying radiance, and we pull the energy from the core of the earth up through the heart, move it up the spine, and then we hold it at the top of inhale overhead, and then we paint it out through the top of the head into the space surrounding the body. So then we begin to dance with this, and we create almost like I would say an energetic mandala with the body and with the hands. So by the end of it, you have created this beautiful energetic shape, and you can bathe in that during this closing meditation, which is always at the end of our practice. We always rest in stillness and feel that energy moving through the body, all the shapes that we have created, and feeling that expansion of not only of our energy, but of our awareness. Because the more aware we are of the things that are happening, not just within us, we become much more present to what is really important, right? So, for example, if we are only concerned about ourselves, only concerned about surviving, only concerned about eating and what we're going to do the next day, we aren't able to contribute as deeply to society and to help the rest of humanity as if we were to just step back and be like, okay, how are my actions affecting the whole? How are my actions affecting the planet? And ultimately, we want to heal so that we can contribute to the greatness and the total goodness of the rest of the world.